back, relax, and maybe get yourself a snack. Me and you gonna have a little chat about books. Hi guys! So I am here today to review 3 books, all of which are quite different, but I felt like I would just put them all in one video for you guys. So let's get started. The first book I have to talk about is a Terry Pratchett one, so of course it's going to be a good one, and that is Sorcerer, 5th in the publication order. If you follow the Discworld, you might know that the Discworld is basically split into lots of different mini-series, and there are different characters who are the focal point of each mini-series, so you can read the books in the order of the mini-series, or you can read them in publication order, and there's a different order which is the chronological order. So I have been reading publication order, and that's just because it's the easiest for me to remember. So this is the 5th, technically, that I have read. It focuses on a young boy who was the 8th son of an 8th son, which basically means he is a sorcerer. And sorcerers are incredibly rare, obviously being the 8th son of an 8th son. And so he comes to the Discworld and brings a whole lot of magic and power with him that he doesn't necessarily know entirely how to wield, and he ends up getting into some very particular scrapes trying to take on the wizards at the university. We follow Rincewind, who is a character that we've already seen in some previous books. Rincewind is quite a wacky kind of wizard. He's really a bit batty and he doesn't really do so well with wizardry and magicians and spells. He's not like the greatest magician out there. He's a bit of a failure, if I'm honest, but he's quite a charming character, and he is followed around by something called the Luggage, which is basically like a big suitcase type thing that has loads of legs and walks around on loads of legs. And the Luggage is really great. I love the Luggage as a character. I just think the idea is insane but awesome. So I love the character of the Luggage, and I did enjoy moments of this book which I just felt were really, really funny. Terry Pratchett writes humorous fantasy, which is quite hard to do because it doesn't always play out as intended, but I think Terry Pratchett is one of the few people that does get the humour quite right for me. It's quite satirical, it's quite funny, there are definite jabs towards politics and other kind of big topics within his fantasy world, and I just think it's a really, really fun way to do things. So I did really enjoy this. I gave it a 3 stars. Rincewind is not my favourite Discworld character, although I do like him. He's not my favourite, so I would have liked to see a few of my other favourites pop up, but it is a really long series, so I have no doubt that I will enjoy loads of the other books as time goes on. Very happy to have got to this one and enjoyed it though. And I gave it a 3 stars. The next book I have to talk about is called The Long and Short of It, which is by Jodie Taylor. This is a collection of short stories all set in her Chronicles of St. Mary's world, and they all follow the same characters who are in the main series. Some of these stories are set in between some of the books, so she may have written a book and then released a short story that kind of bridges the gap of time between book 1 and 2, etc. So a lot of these stories are set between the later books in the series. It doesn't usually spoil things, but there is one story that I think is a bit spoilery. Most of the others are kind of independent adventures. And basically, if you don't know what the Chronicles of St. Mary's series is, I have done an entire review talking about all the previous books in the series because I love this series. It's a time travel series that focuses on a whole cast of very funny historians who like to travel back in history to find out what really happened at various big events in time. And they do so with a cup of tea and a biscuit in hand because they are British through and through. A lot of the humour is very dry and very British. A lot of the kind of content of the book is quite dry, and it's really, really funny if you are into quite dry humour. And I just think it's a excellently fun, light-hearted, very enjoyable series that has some real good moments of character development and exploration, and the whole time travel element is also really fun, but so is the history because you get to see lots of historical events kind of told in a really interesting way to kind of pique your interest. So I definitely enjoyed this collection. I think it is a really solid collection, but there are a few stories that are incredibly short and could not necessarily develop anywhere near as much as some of the others. So for that reason, I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I do think if you are a fan of the series, then it's well worth owning and reading. But if you're not, then it's a good introduction to her series as well. I also want to mention that there is one extra story in this that has not been previously published called The Perfect Storm, and I really enjoyed it, and that particular story I would give 4 stars to. So there are some excellent ones in here, and I really enjoyed the prequel story of this book. I think it's fantastic, and generally I just really love this collection, so I gave it a 3.5 and I would definitely recommend this as a read. Next up I have Into the Water, which is by Paula Hawkins. This book is one that I picked up because I was going to read it with my buddies, Mercedes, Eleanor and Lauren, whose channels I'll link below. And this is a thriller, which is definitely very out of my comfort zone. I don't really read many thrillers, although I have read a few in the past. I actually enjoyed this. I didn't think it was a difficult read at all to get into. The only thing I would point out is that it has quite a few different narrative voices, so we're following a lot of different characters, and I think it takes a while for you to get your head around exactly who is who and how they fit together with the other people in the book, because they are all connected. Lots of them live in the same town and lots of them are related or married or something like that, so you kind of just have to figure out as the story goes on how everyone is connected. And of course there is a mystery that is ongoing about this thing called a drowning pool, which is in the town where everyone lives, and it's a pool that has been famous throughout history for people, particularly women, going there and drowning themselves, being drowned as witches in the past, or committing suicide by drowning in the drowning pool. And so that is kind of the root of the story, and we're following 2 different kind of plots where people have thrown themselves or possibly been thrown into the drowning pool and died, and we're trying to find out exactly why and what happened and who done it, I guess. So it is a mystery, it is a thriller, it is definitely intense and exciting, and there were some really good moments, but I did find it a bit predictable at times as well. So as a whole I gave it a 3 stars. I do think it's a fun read, but I don't know if I would pick up more by the author, just because thrillers are not usually my go-to genre, and I don't think it was amazing, but I did enjoy it, and I do think if you're looking for a light thriller fun read, then this is definitely that. So those are the 3 books I had to talk to you about today. Do let me know in the comments if you've read any, or if you're planning to read any of them. What did you think, and will you be picking them up soon? Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye guys!
Thank you for watching my video today. Go pick up a book, then come back and chat with me again.